Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to cross the Øresund to Sjaelland in Denmark once again, and we're going to revisit one of my favourite Danish craft breweries, and it seems that now we're starting to get one of their beers, at least one of their beers every month in Sweden through the Lokalt og Småskaligt assortment and Systembolaget, so definitely not going to complain about that. So for this review then we are going to go to Svinninge, which is just out to the west of Copenhagen, kind of in the middle of Sjaelland almost, and we're going to have a little look at yet another beer from Toul, or two beers as you would call them in English. So this particular beer is called the 45 Days Pilsner. It comes in at 4.7% ABV, and as the name suggests, this one is a Pilsner beer that has been lagered for 45 days. So yeah, really curious to see how this one turns out. I've heard good things about this beer. I think some of the guys in England got this through the Beer 52 box, actually, so I think there have been a few reviews of this one already, but if you've watched my channel recently you'll know that I'm going through a little bit of a lager phase. So when I heard about this one, this is one that I really wanted to get a hold of, and as I say, very curious to see how it turns out. So yeah, let's go for it. So as always with my reviews, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery before we taste the beer. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Toul before. No doubt you will see some more from these guys in the fairly near future. There's all the usual social media down there as well. If you want to see more reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, province, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlists of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Danish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's being added to whenever I get the opportunity, but very regularly, because I am so close to Denmark. And as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Toul then, on to my brewery notes. So Toul, as I've told you before, was founded by Tobias Emil Jensen and Tori Ganter, who were former students of Mikael Bjerksø, the big boss of Mikkeller. So originally they brewed with him in their school kitchens back in around 2005, and they continued to homebrew until around 2010 when they founded Toul officially, which, as I mentioned earlier, in Danish means two beers. So when Mikael heard that his former students were still brewing, he insisted that they do a collaboration brew together, and this was what became the first commercial beer, and this one was a double IPA. So they very quickly built a strong reputation for themselves, and with the help of Mikkeller they managed to distribute their beers worldwide from very early on in their history. So as is the case with Mikkeller, these guys were originally a gypsy brewery, so they didn't have their own equipment and things like that, and they used spare capacity at other large breweries. In Nørrebro in Copenhagen they have their collaborative beer bar with Mikkeller, which is called Mikkeller and Friends, and the bar has an exclusive bottle shop and over 40 different beers on tap. We also now have the Bruce Brew Pub in Copenhagen, which opened back in 2016 in partnership with Christian Gradient, and there's now a second Bruce bar up in Oslo as well. Those two kind of brew pubs, if you like, operate as a kind of independent operation from the main Toul organisation, though, from what I understand, but they're co-owners as well of the different Mikkeller and Friends venues around the world. And this now includes the bar in Reykjavik, and also they've got their bottle shop in Torvehalen in Copenhagen as well. But they also co-own the Kulship and Micropolis bars in Copenhagen, which are supposed to be very nice. I do need to check those out at some point as well. I believe the Kulship is a sort of sour beer specialist bar actually, so I need to have a little look at that one. But Micropolis, I know, do some very nice beers from all across Denmark actually. But yeah, like I say, for a number of years these guys were operating as a gypsy brewery, but as of 2019 they've got a new production facility in Svinninge on Sjaelland, which, as I say, it's kind of right in the middle of the island, if you like, but this has a 150,000 square metre floor space. They plan to have a clean side of the brewery, which has a large German Braukorn kit, and this side is going to be run by Tim, and there's also going to be a sour side of the brewery with fodders and a coolship and things like that for producing all the different types of sour beers, and this is going to be run by Nathan Borg, and there's a lot of space throughout the whole facility for barrel aging as well, and there's various other little companies getting involved in there as well. There is one of the Danish cider companies brewing their stuff at Toul City as well. But they released the first beers from Toul City in March of 2020. You saw me review a couple of these on the channel already, and as of July 2020, when I'm reviewing this beer for you, these guys have produced around 435 different beers in total. So a very, very prolific brewery, and one that I highly recommend that you check out if you get the chance. I'm really excited to see what all the new beers from Total City are going to be like. There are still a few of the old ones that I want to try. I think it was the Final Frontier is one that I'd really like to have a go at. That's one of their old school double IPAs, but I mean they've got so many nice beers. You know, First Frontier is great. You've also got the Black Salts and Body Malts, which I will still say is one of the best black IPAs that you're going to find on the market. What else? You've got Dangerously Close to Stupid. That's a lovely old school West Coast IPA. Yule Milk is beautiful as well. You know, there's some very, very nice beers available from Total, and I would highly recommend that you try and get a hold of those. So yeah, that's all I can really tell you about Total for the moment. A very, very nice Danish brewery, and you know, in my opinion, whatever style these guys try, they always tend to do pretty well with it actually. So I'm really curious to see what some of their sour beers have in store for us when those make it out here, because I think I've never ever had a sour beer from Total at all yet, so that'll be exciting when those beers do become available. But yeah, that's all I can really tell you about Total for the moment. If you want to learn more about them, of course, you can check out the brewery website. You can follow them on Facebook and Instagram to keep up to date with all the latest goings on, and of course you can check out the Rate Beer, Untappd and Beer Advocate pages to learn more about all the different beers that they've done. But I would surmise that those of you watching in different countries will be quite likely to come across some of the Total beers quite soon. I know they do export quite widely already, but I think you will be seeing a lot more of them over the next while actually with this new brewery that they've got. So yeah, let's get on and actually have a taste of this beer then. So yeah, I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork on this one quite quickly. As you've seen with the other cans that Total have been doing, the artwork on this one is pretty straight up, but this, as I say, is one of the first canned beers that they've done. They did release a session IPA through Systembolaget here in Sweden this month as well. This one incidentally was released on the 1st of July 2020 through Systembolaget, and it's as I say, this one was released along with that session IPA. But yes, it says on the side here, or the front rather, you don't rush a good Pilsner. Letting it ferment and mature slowly means crisp, delicate flavours. That's why we take 45 days to make ours. But as I say, I've heard very good things about this beer, and yeah, I'm really hoping about this one turns out to be nice, because you know, as I say, I'm going through a little bit of a lager phase at the moment, so when I saw this one was coming through Sweden, I was really quite happy actually. But there you can see it has the European organic symbol to it, which is quite nice, and you'll see that in Swedish and Danish too. I think that's Norwegian as well. But yeah, nicely presented this one. So without further ado, let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting then. 440ml can. I honestly can't remember what I paid for this one. I would guess maybe sort of around 40 kroners, because it is an import. So yeah, usually with Systembolaget you will pay about 10 kroners extra when it's an imported beer. But yeah, let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting then. This looks as if it's going to be very, very nice. So yeah, there's about a third of it left in the can there. That'll be alright for the moment. But yeah, as you can see, and as you would expect from a Pilsner, this one has poured a lovely pale golden straw colour. Just look at that. It's absolutely lovely. But yeah, as you can see, lovely kind of pale golden straw colour. I'd say about a solid finger of a frothy white head on this one. One or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, but you can see there is a nice stream of carbonation just going up towards the bottom of the head there. You do want a little bit of carbonation in your Pilsner beers just to give them that nice crispness actually. But yeah, the Pilsner beer, I think it's a very underrated style actually. I mean, one of my kind of go-to beers, I don't really drink outside of the beer reviews, but one of my go-to beers I would say is Pilsner Urquell, and I do like a bit of Leffe as well. If I want something a bit more almost malty and yeasty, if you like, Leffe would be the one that I would use as a go-to beer. But yeah, I do enjoy Pilsner Urquell, so I love lager style beers. I'm just, as I say, going through a lager phase at the moment. But this one looks exactly as you'd expect. It's, yeah, this beer, I'd say this one is crystal clear. It's the glass that's getting a little bit of condensation on it. But yeah, it looks exactly as you would expect for a Pilsner style beer. Nothing overly surprising about this beer in terms of its appearance, but going by the carbonation, I think this one is going to be a lovely, nice, crisp Pilsner. So let's take a closer look at the aroma then and just see how we get on with this beer. Yeah, it smells pretty authentic and German, I have to say. And as I say, with these traditional German styles of beer, of which I'm a big fan, you know, what you're looking for with these is that they are, you know, quite, you know, they are very authentic, if you like. That's what you really want from these Pilsner beers. I do think, though, that you could have some interesting times experimenting with different hops in Pilsners. But yeah, I've had some really good ones recently from Hyllie Brewery here in the south of Sweden. Those guys have got some very, very nice Pilsners, I have to say. But yeah, the aroma coming out of this is lovely. Straight away you get that nice little bit of a kind of, it's almost like a wet white bready quality you get out of it. It's very difficult, I think, to describe the exact aroma that you get from Pilsner malt, because it is very distinctive. So you get that lovely kind of crispness, you get that sort of wet white bready sort of thing out of it, and there is a wee bit of a biscuity sweetness coming out of the malty side of this beer as well. So yeah, as I say, a lovely wee bit of biscuity sweetness in the middle of your palate with this one. You've got a little bit of that kind of breadiness underneath it. It's got a little bit of that kind of almost wet bready quality sitting under it as well. But yeah, the aroma with this beer, I think, is very, very nice actually. Yeah, I like how this one goes together. I have to say, this gets a big, it does get a thumbs up from me, this one, in terms of its aroma. I mean, the Pilsner, as I say, it's not the most complex style of beer in terms of the aroma it's going to give you, but this one strikes me as being almost like very, very authentic. It actually strikes me as being one of the more malty leaning Pilsners that I've come across recently. But like I say, kind of white bready base, a little bit of that almost wet bready quality to it. You get the standard kind of crispness that you get from a Pilsner out of this one. There's a wee touch of graininess in there, some kind of biscuity sweetness as well, like a McVitie's digestive sort of thing, and yeah, then you've also got some nice kind of hoppiness and things like that. So a little bit of a light earthiness on this one, some nice kind of floral aromaticity out of it. I reckon this one will be maybe Czech Sats or German Hallertau or Tettnanger hops that you've got in this one. It smells like it's traditional hops. At least they could have maybe used one of the slightly stronger German hops, such as the Hercules or the Pearl or something like that. They might have used one of the slightly stronger ones, who knows. But yeah, I wonder, is there maybe one of the American hops in here to give it a little bit more, you know, just to give it a little bit more oomph. But in fairness, it does smell mainly very authentic and German. But yeah, nice little bit of grassiness in this one. I would say that overall on the green side of things, this beer really leans more towards that kind of softer, grassy element. There is a good bit of floral character in there on the sides of the nose and a wee bit of the softer earthiness, but I think this beer overall leans more towards that kind of softer, grassy side of things. On the fruity side of it, there is a wee bit of a kind of, you know, that sort of peary ester. To me, it comes across as quite peary in its fruity side of things. Maybe a little touch of gooseberry, and of course you've got a little bit of that slightly kind of citrusy, grassy zest out of this one. But yeah, mainly I would say sort of peary, definitely kind of peary, a little bit sort of gooseberry-like as well, and then you've got that kind of grassy, zesty sort of thing to it. But yeah, a really quite nice aroma from this one, I have to say. It strikes me as being very authentic, very sort of German, but definitely one of the more kind of bready, malty leaning Pilsners that I've come across in recent times. It's not, I think, the boldest aroma that I've come across from a Pilsner recently. So yeah, a little bit of breadiness, a little bit of you know, a little bit of breadiness, a little bit of a kind of grassy, a little bit of grassiness on the hoppy side of things as well, and just some soft fruity undertones, if you like. But yeah, let's have a taste of this one then and see how we get on. This one is the 45 Days Organic Pilsner, coming in at 4.7% ABV from Toul, now in Svinninge on Sjaelland in Denmark. Really curious about this beer, and cool to see it. It's cool to see that we're getting beers regularly from Toul through Systembolaget now. Let's get stuck into this one. Slange, skål. Ooh, yeah. That is quite nice, I have to say. Yeah, I will say this is a pretty solid Pilsner actually. It does kind of, you know, when you think about what they say on the can, it actually does kind of fit that quite well. I find that this one is one that starts out quite smooth and it gets crisper. It gets more crisp and more crisp. Or do you say crisper? My English is terrible these days. But yeah, you get more crispness out of this one the further that you go into the aftertaste with this. I really find this Pilsner dries out quite a bit, I think, the further you go into the aftertaste. But yeah, when you take it in first off, it really is nice and smooth, and I like that about this one actually. It's quite malty and smooth and slightly sweet when you take it in, although in fairness the sweetness in the middle of your palate does build with this one the further you go into the aftertaste, but I'm finding the nice kind of dry crisp qualities, they're coming out towards the back of the palate. The further you go into the aftertaste with this one. But yeah, I like this. This does get a thumbs up from me, this one. You know, by no means is this the most kind of complex beer that you're going to come across from Toil. You know, so that's reserved for something like some of the different Yule milk varieties, or the, you know, the black salts and body malts, I think. You know, but this one, it is a very, very nicely done Pilsner, this one. So I will say thumbs up to Toil for this one. They've pulled off another solid beer. So yeah, nicely done this one. So yeah, let's see how we can kind of break down the flavour of this one then. So I mean, straight away with this beer, you can feel that nice kind of pale malty quality. That just blankets the middle of your tongue. Very quickly that sort of gives way to the more kind of crisp Pilsner malt coming out of this one. You can really feel that crispness. It just, you know, when you take the beer in the middle of your palate, you really start to get that pale malty base, and then that very quickly gives way to the more kind of crisp, the more sort of crisp Pilsner malty qualities towards the back of the the tongue there. You've got that back third of the tongue. You really start to get that almost kind of grainy crispness coming out of this beer actually, and that really on the back third of your tongue is pretty much all Pilsner malt. It's that typical crisp kind of quality that you get from Pilsner malt. It's hard to describe the flavour of that actually, because it's almost very astringent in a way, but yeah, you feel that real kind of dryness, from the Pilsner malt on the back third of your tongue, but the complexity to the beer, if you like, all the different flavours are coming out in the middle of your palate. So let's focus on that middle third of your tongue then, because there's not much else going on in the back third, but yeah, you can feel that sort of pale malty quality, that's forming the very backbone of the beer. On top of that, you do get a little bit of these, you know, the Pilsner malt crispness kind of sitting there, but it's smoothed out by a lot of the breadiness that the beer has. And then in the very centre of your palate, you've got a nice little bit of a sweet kind of biscuity malt, like a little bit of a McVitie's digestive kind of thing. Yeah, so you have got a little bit of a nice McVitie's digestive biscuity sort of thing out of this one in the middle of the palate. This is definitely, it's not one of the kind of sweeter Pilsners that I've come across. I would say that this one, it's actually very well balanced between the real crispness that you expect of this style, and it does get a good bit of dryness on that final third of the palate, but it's also got a good little bit of smoothness out of it as well, which is quite nice. So I like how this one, I do like how that goes together on this one. And I'm finding that the further you go into the aftertaste, the sort of breadiness does push its way out a little bit. You do get a wee bit of a kind of biscuity sweetness coming out of it as well. So there is, yeah, a little bit of a biscuity quality in the middle of the palate there, and that just gives the beer a little bit of a sweet edge, but mainly it's the breadiness, and it does, as they were saying on the can, it really does give you a little bit of a softness to this one. But I find, as I say, the back third of the palate, the further you go into the aftertaste, the back third of the palate, you get those really kind of crisp, astringenty, I don't know if astringent is the right word for it, but you really get those crisp flavours that push their way, crisp and dry flavours that push their way up out of the flavour, if you like. So that's an interesting point about this one. But the middle of the palate is pretty straight up. That the kind of bready, pale malty base, some of the Pilsner crispness is kind of sitting on top of that. Then in the very centre of your palate, you have got like an almost like a little island thing, if you like, where you've got the McVitie's digestive sort of biscuity flavours coming out of this one. But yeah, this one is quite nice. If you go to the front corners of your palette and push, go sort of diagonally backwards a little bit, you will maybe get one or two very, very slight woody undertones to this one, but those are very, very minimal, I will say that. But yeah, I think that pretty much covers the kind of malty side of things. As you move towards the front third of your palette there, you do start to get more of the kind of breadiness pushing its way out of the beer. Actually, you do get a little bit more of a kind of bready build up between the front third of your palate and the middle third of your palate. But yeah, on the fruity side of things then, or sorry, on the hoppy side of things, not the fruity side of things, in the back corners of the palate you do have a nice little bit of earthiness coming out of this one. And as you move further forward from that, you do get some nice kind of floral aromaticity just gradually pushing its way out of the hops. You can feel the earthiness does spread forward a little bit. You get a nice floral aromatic crispness out of this. Then around the very front curve of the palate, we've got a nice little bit of a floral aromaticity in there as well. The grassiness, the softer grassiness does come out there, but I would say the floral notes really push their way out underneath that as well, although the further you go into the aftertaste it does kind of settle down a wee bit and become more grassy. But yeah, on the hoppy side of things, I'd say the kind of, you can feel the dryness, the sort of graininess if you like from the Pilsner malt, and the earthy dryness, those become really prominent on the back sides of your palate. As I say, this beer for me it really does dry out a little bit the further that you go into the aftertaste actually, which is quite interesting. But yeah, the more I focus on that front curve of the tongue, it does, you know, get a little bit more kind of grassy, like I said. But yeah, behind the front curve of the palate, that's where you get a really nice sort of oily bubble where the juicy, fruity esters start to push their way out of the beer. So for me, this one has it's quite, you know, it's pretty much what you would expect, to be honest with you. I think going by the flavour in this one, I think there might be an American hop or maybe a New Zealand one right enough in this, just to kind of amp up a little bit some of the fruity flavours and stuff. It actually reminds me, it does remind me of the Pilsner a little bit from Hylia Brewery, and they were using citra hops in that, so I wouldn't be surprised if there is an American hop in here just to give it a little bit of complexity, because it really does remind me of that Pilsner. But yeah, on the fruity side of things, as I always say, behind the front curve of the tongue, that's where you get the nice oily bubble where the juicy fruity esters push their way out of the beer. So if you go towards the back of that kind of front third of the palate, you do get quite a strong kind of citrusy element out of this one. It is almost a little bit like a, it's almost a little teeny bit like a sort of darker grapefruity citrus, but it's not quite got the pungency of the grapefruit flavour, if you like, but you have got a good citrusy element towards the back of that front third of your tongue. But as you come further forward on the palate, that gradually evolves to be a little bit more sort of like, there's a little bit of an almost, did I say like a slightly apricot-y flavour? There's a little bit of an almost gooseberry note coming out of this one as well. You do have a wee bit of this kind of typical peary flavour as well, so yeah, kind of slightly stronger citrus at the back of that front third of your tongue. Then you start to get a wee bit of an almost slightly apricot flavour, some gooseberry and peary esters, and then as you reach the very kind of front edge of the tongue, that's when you get the stronger kind of grassier, that's when you get the stronger sort of grassier citrusy esters out of this beer, which is quite interesting. But yeah, the further you go into the aftertaste for this one, a bit of the earthiness and grainy dryness comes out from it at the back of the palate, but it is quite a, I see what they say about this one, saying that it is quite a soft Pilsner, if you like. I do find this one leans, the more you go into the flavour, it really leans a little bit more towards the kind of bready-ish side of things, and the kind of grassy elements as well. But I like this one. It does get a big thumbs up from me. I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink this one again. But yeah, in terms of the mouthfeel of this one, then I would say that overall, you know, this is quite a light-bodied beer. That's what you'd expect from a Pilsner. But yeah, so quite a light-bodied beer. But towards the top end of light-bodied, this beer does have a bit of slickness to it. It's not as crisp as some of the Pilsners that you're going to come across. It's got the carbonation on this one, of course, is, again, it's not the kind of crispness. I think the carbonation makes this one quite smooth. To me, it's actually a slightly oily Pilsner, this one, and it's got a nice kind of slickness to it, in fairness as well. In terms of the hoppy side of the beer, I would think that this one is maybe a 30, 35-ish IBU beer. It could even be 40 at a push, to be honest with you. It does have a nice little bit of bitterness in the back corners of the palate and on the sides of the tongue, like I was saying. So yeah, I like that about, I do like that about how this beer goes together. So yeah, nice little bit of hoppy bitterness to this one. The malt base, like I said, it mainly is quite smooth. There's a good bit of crispness to it, and you've also got a slight sort of biscuity quality there, but you've also got some very nice, you've also got a little touch of fruitiness to this one. As I say, a bit of the stronger citrus in there, but then you've got some of the kind of softer and juicier fruits coming out of it as well. But I mean, overall, to me, this is a very nice beer, this one, and I do like how it goes together. But yeah, for me, a really nice solid Pilsner, this one. So big thumbs up to Total once again for this one. Definitely one of the slightly more bready-ish leaning ones that I've had in recent times. It leans towards the grassy side of things as well, but you do get a bit more graininess out of it towards the back of the palate too. But yeah, another solid beer coming out of Total City, and you can't complain about that as well. So a very nice beer for summer. This one, I have to say, I would think this will be very nice. But yeah, let's leave it at that for this one. This one was the 45 Days Organic Pilsner, coming in at 4.7% ABV from Total, now based in Svinninge on Sjaelland in Denmark. Lovely beer this, and I'm glad that I was able to review this one for you. So yeah, let's leave it at that. Do give me some other Pilsner recommendations in the comment section below. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below as well. It's been great to review another beer from Total, and I hope that you guys have enjoyed my my take on this one as well. So yeah, let's leave it at that. Once again, thank you for watching my reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. As I say, let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below, and thank you again for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. This one, the 45 Days Organic Pilsner, 4.7% ABV from Total in Svinninge on Sjaelland in Denmark. Slange, skål, cheers.